Hey, good evening, my friends. I have missed you guys. I've missed doing this and communicating with you this way. It's been weeks, I think. I have been suffering with migraines, chronic migraines. And so I'm pretty sure it's because of all the stress involved with our life change. I think I mentioned it in maybe the last video I did or the one before. Probably the one that I called Strenzy. Striving and frenzy. Yeah, because I was going through all our stuff in the house. Well, anyway, we did sell our house, and we are moving, but we don't know yet we didn't know what roof would be over our head until Sunday. 5 days ago. So, it's been a little bit stressful. And so I'm sure that's contributing to the chronic migraines, which means I have had to use all my energy for the things that I had to do and needed to choose to do. So anyway, I haven't done these videos. I really miss it because it helps me. It helps me remember who I am and remember who God is and remember that I'm beloved. So in the midst of everything kind of cuckoo, I thought I would do this. So I wanted to say hi, I wanted to give you an update and tell you a little story. So Craig finished his last Sunday at our dear church of 15 years. He finished his last Sunday, 4 weeks ago maybe. And so he's on an 8-week sabbatical. And we took a 2 weeks away together in Colorado in the mountains. And it was amazing, as you can imagine. Although the first 5 days plus or whatever, with the altitude added to everything else, I did have lots of pain. But it got better. And so the first week we were at our friend's place. Hey, Jeannie. We were at their place that they have in the mountains that we go to every so often. And so that was really fun because it was like home. It's like a second home, and we were able to be with our family. And so then our family left after a few days, and it was just Craig and me, and we wanted it to be like a retreat. But we're on this golf course, and these golfers are constantly coming by, and which is kind of fun. It was very fun because we would sit out and have tea on our patio or have our dinner, and we'd converse with them, and it was fun. And we got to watch their swing, and we were at a what do you call it when they first? Is it a tee box where they are first hitting the golf ball off the tee? So, so in the mornings we would try to be just real relaxed and just kind of take in all the beauty, go for walks or do some reading, and it was great. We kind of had pictured that being kind of all day, every day, just sort of, just go with the flow and go shopping if we wanted to or whatever. But it turned out that every afternoon we were really busy trying to get a purchase agreement together for this home in our new city that we just adore. And so anyway, but it was lots of hours in the afternoons. Okay. So then the second week we packed up at the place in Avon and drove through the mountains, across the mountain plain. No, not plains. Across the mountains. And it was so gorgeous, I can't even explain it. The trees weren't, the aspens weren't yellow yet. There were some, and they would stand out like brilliance in the midst of, green. But it was just so vast and gorgeous, and it really set us up for the week that was more of our actual retreat. So, because we were staying at a friend's place, he directs this ranch, and so we had no idea that it was going to be so different from being in the city. It was so wildernessy. It was so nature. You know how it is in the mountains, in the Rocky Mountains. It was just rugged and gorgeous. It was, lost my words, but that's what beauty does to you. But you can just picture the rocky mountain peaks, like literal rocky, not the name, but just rock, because it's above the tree line, because the mountains were so high. And so the beauty itself and the lack of civilization was just like quieted our souls right away. It was just like, wow, you could just breathe. And so about the third day in, I had been like, when I would get alone and I could just sort of talk out loud to God, I'd be like, Lord, we really want to meet you. We need an encounter. We're just asking, you sometimes do that and sometimes you don't, but we really would love that. And we don't even know what we need, though. We're in this huge transition. Do we need to grieve? We've done a lot of that. Do we need to grieve more? Do we need to know it more clearly, what we're grieving? Do we need to have real clear excitement and vision for where we're going? What do we need? And so, but I was like, but please come. So this one afternoon, we would take a nap, a glorious nap, and then we got up after our nap this one day and made tea, and I guess I had finished my tea. Yes. And I was a little agitated because God hadn't come yet, and I knew that this was the day that there was a couples retreat starting, and so at 3:00 all the couples were going to start arriving at the ranch, and we had the place all to ourselves, and it was so sacred, but God hadn't really come yet. You know what I'm saying? So I was kind of like, and I started hearing a chainsaw in the midst of these glorious evergreens and aspens, and I'm like, what? Okay. I couldn't even let myself go there because chainsaws are one of the things that make me the most rageful in the world. And so I was like, it'll be okay if they had to take down a tree, because there were so many trees, and occasionally they were blocking like a view that would take your breath away. And so I was kind of okay with it, but I was like, but I could hear that and then this other wheezing sound, and so I was like, Craig, I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm gonna go just explore and see what's going on out there. Let me deal with this baby here. Oh baby, what you needing right now? What do you need right now? What do you need? Oh, yeah. Y'all just let that oxytocin come into your brain as you look at this little sweetie loving. Oh yes, when I scratch her ear, she likes that. Oh, okay. She will just go totally limp. But I'm not sure I want to deal with this right now. But anyway, okay, so I was like, Craig, I'm going to go explore, kind of see what's going on. So I walked out and I followed the sounds and I went and it was getting louder and louder. And I was like, that is definitely a chainsaw. What is going on? Calm thyself, Jamie. And I saw a man chainsawing like the little trunk left of a tree, and it looked white. And I saw some yellow on the ground, which meant he had cut down an aspen. But I just had to, I numbed myself. And I was like, oh, well, I'm going to just go for a walk out on this new vista thing where we had been moved to a new cabin for during the retreat. And so it was more on the edge of the ranch, and so more of the edge of where the cabins were. And so there was this openness, this place where you could climb and go up, and do hikes and all this stuff. So I thought, I'm just going to take a little walk. And so I started just down the road, and the sky was so brilliant blue. Sorry, my face was because I'm at 11 minutes. It's okay, right? It's okay. We're hanging out. Okay. So I'm going to try not to go longer than 15. So I looked up into the brilliant blue sky. I would do like blue sky therapy, where I would just stare at the blue sky because of the dryness of the climate and the air, without the humidity, the brilliance of the blue sky is so amazing. So I looked up to do blue sky therapy, and there, floating up there, just dangling around, was a Mylar balloon. A balloon. One of those Mylar kinds that you buy, at the Kroger or the Walmart or the party store. And it was so out of place because all we had seen was nature. There had been these massive elks that had done these trumpet horn sounds, probably mating calls, and rabbits, little bunny rabbits. And we had seen some eagles in the sky. And here was this dangling, floating, dancing, moving through the sky, this balloon. And I was like, Lord, it's you, isn't it? What are you doing? And so I started walking faster because the balloon I was like just so curious. At first I was like, it can't be. It was so like seeing a Martian on Earth. But I got closer and it was coming closer and I was like, well, yeah, it was like, looked silver. And I was like, I have got to see what the message is on that balloon. Lord, are you trying to give me a message on a balloon? Because I'm having such a hard time hearing you. And so it started sort of coming down. I don't know if it's because the mountain was like this and I was here coming across, and it looked like it was getting lower, but maybe just because the mountain was getting higher. But anyway, it was coming down closer to the ground. And so I just picked up my pace, but I didn't start running or anything. And I chased it, sort of. I mean, I just went in the direction of it. And I was like, Lord, Father, if this balloon is from you, you will trap it. You have to trap it because it's going way faster than me. And I just, as I was walking, I just thought, what does it say? Happy birthday? My birthday's in January. And I was like, what else do those balloons say? Have a nice day. So I couldn't think of what the message would be. I love you. That would have been a really good one. I couldn't think of I didn't think of that one. But I started climbing the mountain because I had had such a hard time with the altitude and with breathlessness and hadn't really been able to climb. But I wasn't having any trouble. But the sun was so hot. I got to the edge of these woods and I went into the woods and I knew to watch for where I was going. I didn't want to get lost. I didn't get lost. And I will tell you, I never found the balloon. Never. But I ended up in these woods and I felt so sheltered and it was so beautiful. There were so many different types of flowers, like sort of autumn flowers and autumn foliage. Some of it was dried already and some of it wasn't. And I had felt they had some of it throughout the ranch where all the cabins were, but I didn't want to pick any of that because that was to make it beautiful there. But here there was just plentiful and it was out in the wilderness. So I started picking it and just making like a bouquet. And I just started, I definitely felt like I was in communion with God. It was just the two of us. I was all alone. I could see way far away where our cabin was, which was on the edge of the civilization sort of thing of the ranch. And so I just started talking out loud and like, I'm sure I'll see if a car comes up, I would know. And so I can talk out loud. And I just started telling the Lord, this period of waiting has been so hard. What is happening? I can't do it anymore. We've been in transition since April. We started thinking we might be moving to a new church. So April, May, June, July, August, September, just day after day, month after month, and always with uncertainty, not really knowing what our future is. And it's just been wearing on me. But where I really all of a sudden started to cry was thinking that going to a new church, what if I'm just lost? What if I'm just not known at my age and I'm just the side character? Craig is the one they want. He's the pastor. That's his job, if you didn't know. But we go as a couple. It's like a new life for us. When you go to a church, it's different than going to like a CPA job or something. This is us going together, and I'm an Enneagram 4, and so we worry about these things, like, will I belong? And it just had been kind of gnawing at me, and I didn't really know it. And I had picked this beautiful bunch of flowers and made kind of this real pretty bouquet, and I just thought, Lord, I don't want to be just extra, just kind of invisible, just lagniappe. That's a word we use in South Louisiana, and it means the extra. Like, just throw that. We don't really need that. It's just lagniappe. Sometimes it's a positive thing, like, let's also have dessert. That'll be lagniappe. So anyway, in this current context, it was a word that I felt like, yes, I don't want to just be an extra thrown in. I don't want to just be this anonymous sort of, like a placeholder. And I looked down at my bouquet and like the centerpieces that had made it really come together, I had dropped them somewhere. And I was like, oh no. They were like the first ones I had picked, and they had more color in them. And then there was the more like feathery things and grasses that were more muted colors, but I don't know that any of this matters. But that's what it looked like, because I don't think it's symbolic. But and I was like, Lord, I can't leave them. That they were so special to me. And so I turned around and I started retracing my steps, and I found them lying there in the dirt, and I picked them up and I stuck them back in, and I just felt like God said, those flowers weren't lanyap. They were part of the whole. And you're not lanyap, Jamie. You never have been and you never will be. And I just started sobbing with joy and gratitude and love and belovedness, feeling beloved. And I searched my pockets and I hadn't brought any tissue, which is very unlike me. Ask my daughters. They have a funny thing about, don't put on one of Mom's robes because you'll find her old tissues. But so I just was like, oh well. So I just kind of leaned over and because it was all coming out, and I had to just blow my nose into the nature and try to get it off, and then and I was like, I'll just change my clothes when I get home. I had to use my shirt as a tissue. And I was like, I'm just so glad no one's around here. And I got up from the rock. I had found this big rock to sit on, and got up from my rock and turned around, and up, just a little ways up on the top of the next landing of the hill were these 3 horseback riders. I had forgotten that people rode horseback around there and that they could get up to those mountains with me. And so I was glad that I had not been talking out loud for a while or snotting all over everything for a little bit. So anyway, that's my story. And I tried to not shorten it to stay at 15 minutes, but I hope you enjoyed that. I just really wonder how you're all doing. I think, as an Enneagram 4, if you don't know what that is, it's just a personality thing. But they say, I have this underlying humming sadness kind of in life. It's like I feel beauty deeply, and that can kind of hurt. And then I feel the suffering in the world too. But I don't think I'm unique in this situation with just the pandemic and 2020, and we're still 2021 in it, it's September, and it's just hard. But I tell you, relationship is our salvation. Relationship with God, who is just so huge, which the mountains reminded us of. And He is so good. As big and vast and wide and high and powerful are those mountains. So much is God's love. Let me tell Louie not to do that. Louie, come here. Look at me. How do you like that training? Good boy. Let's not do any barking. But we also need relationship with others. Man, we have got to lean into that more than ever. Craig and I enjoyed our friendship so much on our trip. And it just brings so much joy and so much support and strength. Now that we're back, I feel the need for my friends and my family. And I just keep feeling like, yes, that's life. That's what we need. So lean into relationship and ask for God to come, and then watch for how He's going to lead you. The balloon didn't have a message on it for me after all, it was like a leading me into the desert to be with God. I really do feel like it was like, you know, an invitation in the mail, but it was in the sky. Like, come out here. We're going to spend time together. So, bless you. I miss you all. I'd love to hear any of your thoughts. Comments are always fun. And subscribe if you haven't already, and then you'll know when I do update and put out a video. Love you all. Bye.